Hey guys! So for this video I'm going to be making some quick and easy tags using the cookie cutter Christmas stamp set and the punch, and a couple punches actually from Stampin' Up! And to get started I actually pulled out my Misty tool so that I could do some stamping on some scrap pieces of white cardstock. The reason I decided to use my Misty stamp tool is if I stamp it down and it's not clear, I can re-stamp it without having to reuse another piece of paper. So I coated the stamp in Memento black ink and closed the lid to stamp this little Eskimo character. There are several characters in the stamp set and they all fit in the punch, which you will see shortly. But before I punch this image out, I decided to do a bit of watercoloring using the ink lid technique. So I'm using Real Red and Crumb Cake ink to watercolor this little image in. So I'm just squeezing the lid, and I have a watercolor brush by Derwent. And I'm just going to color the gloves and some details on the little character red and the rest of her little outfit brown. This particular watercolor brush, in my opinion, is excellent. It's one of the few brushes I found where it has really good water control in a large water well. So I highly recommend it. I'm using the smallest one in the set for this particular image, but it actually does come in a pack of 3. A small, medium, and a wide bristle. And as usual, I'll link it down below. But I'm not using a ton of water on this image simply because I didn't stamp on watercolor paper. This is just regular paper that I'm watercoloring on top of. There are a few parts of her outfit that I decided to leave white, and instead of leaving them just plain, I decided to color them in with a little bit of Wink of Stella. This particular Wink of Stella pen is a white glitter version, and I put down a generous layer on the fur that was around the top of her head, at the bottom of her coat, and near her sleeves. While that particular piece is drying that I just watercolored, I'm going to go ahead and create the tag. And for the tag, I'm using a tag topper punch. So I have a 2-inch wide piece of paper, and this is the size that's designed to fit in the slit. And I just slid it in all the way until it stopped and then pushed down. And that gives you a tag already pre-punched at the top of your piece of paper that you can trim down to whatever length you need it to be. Once my little Eskimo girl dried, I went ahead and I punched her out, and you can see that the punch actually does come with some of the accessories that are also in the stamp set, but I'm not going to be using those for this particular tag. For the sentiment at the bottom of the tag, I'm using a stamp that came with that same Eskimo image, and I'm stamping it with Versamark ink on top of Real Red cardstock. And I've gone over the cardstock with my embossing buddy because I'm going to be coating this with white embossing powder, and I don't want the powder to stick everywhere. So once I stamp my image, I coat the stamped sentiment with white embossing powder, and I went ahead and set it using my heat tool. Once the paper cooled down, I went ahead and I trimmed it down using my paper trimmer. I didn't use any particular measurements for this sentiment. I just trimmed it down so that it looked, or at least appeared, to be even on both sides. Finally, I'm ready to go ahead and assemble my tag, so I attached my little Eskimo character down using dimensional adhesive, and I did the same thing for the sentiment using a wide piece of dimensional adhesive. And then the edges I left overhanging the tag and just trimmed them on an angle using my scissors. Once again, I used my paper trimmer just to trim the bottom of the tag to shorten or cut off the extra length, and that was it. So here's a quick look at the final product. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.